I got more good news. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, there was a very important memorial service today in Washington for the pretend border bill, complete with a eulogy that tried to explain, put into context, the loss.
They have been very clear with me. They have political differences with the bill. They say it's the wrong time to solve the problem, or let the presidential election solve this problem. There are other folks that read the Facebook posts and the Twitter posts and saw different facts that they thought might be true. But I personally told them over and over again, they're false. And it's been hard to overcome.
Oh, it is a loss. It's sad that he's still using the same lines that didn't work when he was trying to sell this stinker of a bill. But he wasn't the only one impugning the intelligence of his fellow colleagues who helped bury this bill.
While others have decided that border security is just a talking point for the election, I can promise you this. As someone who was born and raised near the border in Arizona, this is not a talking point for me. This is our daily lives. And I hear from our ranchers. I hear from our police officers. I hear from our farmers every day.
Yes, and I hear that those Arizonans know and have known for years that it is indeed, Kristen, a crisis. And I bet if asked, none of them would have supported legislation that every year allowed in millions of migrants and foreign workers. They would want an emergency halt of all asylum claims because of scenes like this last month.
The numbers are startling, and they are not slowing down. Take a look at what we saw out here in Lukeville, Arizona this morning. Another mass illegal crossing through a breach in the border wall. We saw hundreds of adults from all around the world crossing illegally. We actually had 2 guys from Afghanistan amongst this group, which crossed here illegally.
What could go wrong? But the bill, of course, would not have stopped any of that, contrary to what Lankford and Sinema were trying to say. And if Sinema, by the way, was so sure that this bill was a winner, why didn't she just demand that McConnell and Schumer delay things for maybe a few weeks, then hold a few town halls to whip up public support? And why didn't Lankford insist on at least a full week of debate on this bill? Why didn't they both vociferously oppose leadership's cram-down maneuver of releasing the bill's text Sunday night and then rushing to a cloture vote today? Of course it was going to fail. We tried to warn them. Americans are not stupid, even if they think we are. We beat the powerful Chamber of Commerce. We beat the corporate media. We beat the pro-amnesty crowd and, of course, the old establishment. Not bad. And if they try to resurrect this corpse, we're going to beat them again. Also, this episode demonstrated that the dinosaur media is losing power and influence. That's a very good thing. Corporate censors could not prevent the truth about this legislation from coming out. Now, obviously, you've been watching The Angle as we meticulously laid out the parade of horribles that the Senate had embedded in this bill. And then the education continued on Elon Musk's X, where brilliant senators posted page numbers and entire sections of the offending text. It was devastating. Thank God Elon Musk can weather the advertiser boycotts, and thank God he doesn't mind being hated by all the right people.
Now, in times of war, disinformation spreads like wildfire, and tech mogul Elon Musk is often criticized for fanning those flames. Several companies have pulled their ads from his platform X, otherwise Twitter, after he personally endorsed an anti-Semitic post.
That was a textbook smear to wound him financially and get him to give up, just as they're doing to Donald Trump. Come on, they'd all play nice with Musk if he simply started censoring conservatives. And let us not forget tonight the good news about the presidential race. Just as Jim Lankford ignored my advice to avoid being the fall guy for that border bill, Nikki Haley ignored my advice to drop out after Iowa. They might not believe me, but I was actually trying to help them. Nevertheless, as we saw in yesterday's Nevada caucuses, Nikki Haley's stubbornness is the GOP's gain.
NBC News projects that Nikki Haley has lost to the option that reads none of these candidates. Former President Trump did not appear on the ballot. Haley faced some long shot challengers, and the none of these candidates choice there you can see at the bottom.
Now, stew on that for a minute. Even with her massive campaign war chest, She couldn't beat none of the above? Embarrassing. Now, I'm going to say it again. Every day that she's staying in the race, she's hurting her chance to have any influence in the future. Maybe that's what she wants. And follow-on good news comes from a poll about minority voters and their growing support for Donald Trump. According to Gallup, Democrats' advantage over the GOP among black and Hispanic voters has shrunk by nearly 20 points over the past 3 years.
Who do you think is better for the country, Trump or Biden?
Trump.
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 I say Trump.
Why do you say that?
He's a businessman. He's going to think business. And Biden is a racist.
No wars, great policies, best years in the stock market.
Biden ain't doing We're going to get rid of his sleep.
Wow. Well, the old Democrat coalition is slowly starting to split apart, and it is about time. And with Trump leaning toward what we've been recommending for years, a Republican 50-state strategy for victory, then things could really get interesting. It's about time. Those broken New England states, come on, they got to be in play again. No city and no state should be left behind. So don't let the Democrat media machine, not for 1 second, have you believe that just because the House came up short in impeaching Mayorkas, that we're not on a winning roll here, because we are. The country is waking up. They're demanding real change, and they're looking away from Washington and toward the guy who had us going in the right direction just 4 years ago. And that's the Very Happy Angle.